Hi, and welcome to Child Development 210 Online. I'm Sister Anderson. I'm going to be your instructor this semester. So here's my contact information. I just want to make this video so I could introduce myself and tell you some things about how the class is going to work. So email is definitely the best way to contact me. You can text me if you want to, but I always check my email regularly. So if it's not a super emergency, just go ahead and send me an email and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. You can also use the questions and conversations discussion board. That way, if you have a question that pertains to the whole class, everyone will get to see the information and the answer that I give, and then that'll help out everybody else as well. So some things about online learning in general. I did my master's program online, so I definitely have been in your shoes and I understand what it's like doing the online learning thing. There's a lot of great benefits to it. Just the flexibility and being able to do things at your own pace in your own house is great. The drawback would be that we just don't have as much face-to-face interaction. There's things that I won't necessarily be able to explain. Sometimes I have students say things like in their evaluations about how they feel like they're teaching themselves in the online class, which they definitely have a good point. Online learning has a lot more student responsibility. So if you feel like you are teaching yourself, that is partially true because there's just a lot of reading, a lot of things that you do need to figure out on your own. That being said, I will be making videos. I'll be trying to explain some of the more important concepts, and I'm always here to answer your questions if you need help. So you're not on your own, but there is a lot more student responsibility in an online class to learn the concepts than there would be in a regular class where the teacher would just be giving lectures and explaining everything. So hopefully you're used to the online format and you can appreciate the benefits that go along with those drawbacks. So a few tips for success to start off. The first and most important thing I would tell you is to start early and to pace yourself. If you start getting behind and procrastinating everything till the last minute before the due date, it's just going to cause a lot of problems. So you really need to be self-motivated, self-driven when it comes to your time management in an online class. Use that questions and conversations discussion board that I was referring to in the last slide. If you have a question, just please speak up because I don't know if you're confused about something if you don't tell me what's going on. And by using that discussion board, it helps everyone else in the class too. And then watch the videos that I make for you because I'll give you a lot of important tips. If there's questions that are confusing in the units, I will address some of those things in the videos. So a lot of helpful information that I'm trying to get to you, but if you don't watch them, then you won't get that information. Also, read every announcement that I send out and all the emails that I send out. I'll be giving you lots of tips and info and just good information that you need to know. So the best way to be successful is just to keep up with everything, read everything that I give you, and stay on track. So a few expectations for the class. As I said, staying on a schedule is important. Because this is an online class, it does not mean that there's no due dates. There are due dates. You can do your work at your own pace within the structure of the class, but there are definitely due dates. When we're on the discussion board, just please be respectful of each other. We'll have different opinions about things and just try to be kind when you're expressing those opinions. Also, being honest is really important. It seems like almost every semester I've found people using internet sources not correctly or things like that. Just remember to cite your sources, do your own work. Don't copy off of the internet or off of each other. The late policy, let me get back to academic writing actually first, is just important to use your best writing when you're doing your assignments. Don't use texting abbreviations or one-word answers. Just use complete sentences, proper grammar. This is a college course, so please use your best writing. Okay, the late policy is 10% deduction for each day for 2 days max. So after the 2 days, then there will not be any assignments accepted. And that's just for certain assignments. Things like quizzes and discussion boards cannot be turned in late. So this would just be on the written assignments, which I'll get to in a minute. The late policy is also posted on an announcement in iLearn, and that gives a lot more specific details. So please check out that announcement, but just understand that the late policy is for emergencies only. If you use the late policy every single unit, it's really going to affect your grade. So please check out that announcement that's titled Late Policy. One more thing would be that there is no extra credit in this class. It seems like every semester I'll get a few emails right at the end asking how can I improve my grade? Can I get a few extra points? I'm 1 point away from a B or whatever the case may be. The points that you have earned through the semester that's going to be your grade. There is no way to get extra credit right at the end. So whatever grade you get based on the assignments that you've turned in, that's going to be your grade. There's no bumping up at the end of the semester if you're close. So the best way to get a good grade is just to be consistent throughout the whole semester, turn in quality work on time every time, and you should be fine. So if you're having technical difficulties, here's a few things to know. Chrome and Firefox work best. You probably have already figured that out since you're watching this video. If you are having computer problems, just email me right away so that way I know what's going on. But that's definitely not an excuse to be able to turn in late assignments or, to get your late penalties waived or anything like that. So just make sure that your computer's in good working condition. Make sure that you're backing up everything so that way if you do have a computer problem, you're able to access your files. You can contact the online support office. If you're having computer difficulties, here's their information. I'm not great at computer issues. If you're having technical difficulties, a lot of times a student will email me and say I can't figure out how to format my file the right way or something like that, which that's not my area of expertise. So you would need to contact the online support office. And again, just back up everything. That way if something happens, you can still get access to all the work that you've done throughout the unit. So here's an overview of the class itself and how it's going to work. So this class works a little bit different from probably what you're used to. We go in units, and each unit is 2.5 weeks long. There'll be 3 or 4 chapters per unit. So everything is due at the end of that 2.5 weeks. So we don't have normal like weekly due dates, that type of thing. It's spread out a lot more. So you'll have 2.5 weeks, but because of that, you have a whole lot of assignments due all on the same day. So that's why I was saying before, don't put off everything until the last minute because you have a ton of assignments to get turned in all at the same time. And some people like this, some people don't. I don't really have a choice in when the due dates are. That's just, the class is just given to me. This is the schedule that I have to follow. So we kind of just have to deal with what we have been given. And for this course, it is 2.5 week units. So here's a picture of the textbook. It is The Developing Person by Kathleen Berger. It's the 10th edition. Here's a picture of it. Make sure to get the 10th edition. There's a lot of different versions floating around. There's older versions out there, but this is the one that will be have the correct page numbers, have all the information that you need. If you get the wrong edition, then things might not quite make sense when you're trying to do your assignments. And then the last thing is to watch all of the videos that you'll see in the content section on iLearn. So a lot of the question answers will be coming from those videos as well as the textbook. So a few disclaimers, I kind of alluded to this in the previous slide, is that I don't write the questions. I don't even come up with the structure of the class. A lot of this stuff is just given to me by course designers that are on campus in Rexburg. So I'm kind of the middleman that I'll take the curriculum that's given to me by those course designers and then present it to you and help you to explain it and be grading your assignments, but I'm not the one that's actually writing the questions on the quizzes or the assignments. So if some of those links are not working, just let me know. I can try to get them fixed. But again, I'm not the one that's choosing what videos go on there. Also, some of the questions may seem strange or be a little vague or have a typo or something like that. Again, I didn't write the questions, but I will do my best to explain everything that I can, and I will have to just work with the course designers in getting those problems fixed. If you find an error on a quiz, like you know you have the right answer, but it marked it as incorrect, I'm happy to adjust your grade, but you'll just need to send me an email and let me know, hey, this quiz question seems wrong, can you look into it? And then if there is an error on the quiz, I will fix your grade, and then I will fix the quiz question for others. So yeah, just let me know if something seems weird. I'm always happy to help try to fix those problems. My last disclaimer is that this is not an easy A type of class. Now, I don't say that to scare people away. I'm thrilled that you're signed up to take this class, and I want you to stay in it because it's so much great information. But I think a lot of people see child development and they think, oh, how hard could that be? I have kids, or I know a lot of kids, or I used to be a kid, so yeah, I'll just take that. Can't be that difficult. But actually, there's, a lot of scientific information that goes into this. There's a lot more technical details than you probably realize. So this is not something that you can just say, well, this is what my parents did when I was a kid and I turned out fine. There's a lot more to it than that. So just understand that when you're going into this class, it's going to be a lot of reading, a lot of writing. It's not going to be one of these, breeze through, easy A fluff types of classes. So hopefully going in with that expectation, you'll be able to be successful and not be surprised or disappointed when you get into the course and realize that, it's a lot more than what you might have realized before. So here is the list of assignments. We'll start off with the fact or fiction quizzes. There's a pre-test at the very beginning, and then there are fact or fiction quizzes for every chapter. These are optional because they do not count toward your grade. So if you get a 0 on the pre-test and you get a 0 on every fact or fiction, it will not affect your grade at all. So you don't need to really worry about those. You definitely should look into them. You should take them if you feel like it's beneficial to you, but it doesn't count towards your grade. So next is the reading and videos. As you're going through the content section, just make sure to read every page that's listed on there and then to watch every video. Because like I said before, a lot of the answers that you're going to need to get for the journal and the Dear Abby are going to come from those videos that you're watching and also from the textbook. Okay, so for the journal. The title journal is kind of misleading because you might think it's just your thoughts on the subject as you go through the reading, but that's not what it is. There's actually right or wrong answers to most of these questions. So you definitely need to be using your textbook and the videos to answer those. So you'll want to download the journal file, and I'll show you how to do that in a different video at the very beginning. So that way you can be working on your journal questions as you go through your reading. Don't wait to start your journal until you're done reading all 3 chapters. It's so much easier if you answer every question as you go through the content, as you do your reading, and as you're watching the videos. That'll save you time, and then the info will be fresh in your mind, so it'll be easier to answer those questions. Then there are reading quizzes for every chapter, and those do count towards your grade, so do your best on those. And then there's a Dear Abby assignment. So there are some very specific instructions for the Dear Abby that you need to pay attention to. This is the one that I'm going to be grading the most difficult. This is like the most important as far as your accuracy and things like that. So use your textbook to answer those questions. Do not use your personal story. There is a word count requirement, so you need to make sure to look at that. And the word count is for the entire document. So you'll be answering a bunch of short answer questions. So the word count is for the total, all of the answers, all of the questions for the whole unit. That's going to be 9 questions total. So that's what your word count is that you're looking for. You need to use page numbers for references. So when you are answering these questions using the textbook, then you'll say in parentheses, at the end of your sentence or wherever, which page number you found your information on. This is to make sure that you're using your textbook and getting correct information, and this is also to practice citing your sources properly. That way we're not plagiarizing, because those are not your original ideas. They came from somewhere else. So we need to give credit to where those came from. So you'll choose 3 questions for each chapter. That is going to be a total of 9 for each unit, because there's 3 chapters in every unit. So just make sure you have 9 questions answered on your Dear Abby assignment for every unit. Okay, then the observation, you'll just download a study guide, you'll watch some videos, you'll answer a few questions. That's a shorter assignment, and I don't grade it as carefully. As long as is it obvious that you have watched the video and that you have read the textbook, you'll probably be okay on those. I'm not going to grade them as picky as I do the other assignments, but I do read every answer, so you've got to make sure that your answers are making sense in order to get full credit on that. Then you'll have the discussion board, which is called Collaborative Quest. So the main thing to remember about this is that you need to do your first post, your initial post during the first week of the unit. So just get on there early in the unit, post your initial post, and then you go back and check in throughout the rest of the unit, respond to people, ask questions, just so that you're active throughout the whole unit. You will not get full credit if on the due date you just have your 3 posts and that's the only time you've participated. So you have to have your initial post, and you need to respond to at least 2 of your group members. And then the final is open book, and there's no time limit. So really that's not anything to worry about. You can literally dig through your textbook and spend as much time as you want looking for every answer. And that is going to be open the whole time during Unit 5, the last unit. So anytime during that 2.5 weeks, you can take the final. And so you can be done with the class pretty early if that's what you would like to do, because that comprehensive final is open for the whole 2.5 weeks of Unit 5. Okay, and then I have a document on one of the announcements called Grading Guide, and that gives a lot of details on how I'll be grading these assignments. So look at that document, and that should help you know exactly what I'm looking for when I am grading. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is building faith in the Savior. So at BYU Idaho, as you probably know, that's one of our big parts of our mission statement, that every class is focusing on the gospel, that we try to find connections, we try to bring it back to the basic truth of the plan of salvation and our own testimonies. So this class lends itself really well to that because families are the central part of the plan of salvation, and that's really what we're learning about. We're learning how to be better parents and better family members, and how to care for these children that have been entrusted to us, whether that's in our own families or in a church calling or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of connections that we can make to gospel principles. So I think it's great to be able to study about families and children and to use that in a gospel perspective. So I would hope that you can use all the things that you learn in this class for your own family, whether that's now or in the future, or if that's just passing along information to someone that you know that maybe you can help, someone who has children right now that maybe is struggling or doesn't quite know what to do with a situation. And I will be posting spiritual thoughts every now and then in emails and on announcements because I like to invite the Spirit into our classroom, and I think that that really helps to set the tone for a great semester. So that is the end of this overview, and please let me know if you have any questions at all. I'm always happy to help.